Good morning, YouTube. It's Arwen of Tarot by Arwen. Seek joy, y'all, and pass it on. Always, always pass that joy on. DMoon1234 asked me about my spiritual and psychic orientation. I'm not really sure how to answer that, so I'm going to attempt. My spiritual orientation is Wiccan. I am a nature lover. As a child, I used to go out. I lived in where there were, we called them piney woods, and I used to go into the piney woods on camping trips and take long walks with other kids, but I could hear the trees, and a lot of that happened after I read the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I started with The Hobbit and then moved on, and I read them when I was about 9 or 10 years old. I'm an avid reader. And my mom used to drop me off at the library on Saturdays, and I literally read my way through the kids' books. And so the librarians, I think, just despairing of something else to do for me, kicked me into the juvenile literature. And then one of them handed me The Hobbit and said, "Read this." I think she thought it might keep me busy. I brought it back in a week because, yes, I had in fact finished it. I read super fast. A true story, my grandmother handed me something, the back of a Reader's Digest, and said, "Read this." And my mother's like, "Oh, Mom." She said, "Just read it. And read it till I tell you to stop, even if you have to start over." So I did. And she said, "Stop." And I did. She said, "How many times did you read it?" And I told her, and she went, And my mother said, "I told you, Mom." She was testing me with the, it was the Evelyn Wood speed reading test. And she was going to pay for me to take some courses. And I had read kind of off the scale. Some people read word by word. Other people read phrase by phrase. I'm a phrase reader. And I think that phrase readers are faster because we group things quicker. But I'm a super fast reader. The Deathly Hallows Harry Potter book, I read it in about 6 hours. And that's good and bad because sometimes, you know, I want a book to last. So sometimes I have to make myself put the book down and walk away and go do something else. But my spirituality, I think, began there. I was raised Episcopal. And I sometimes jokingly refer to myself as an Episcopalian because I do like ritual. I like incense. I like robes and bells and chanting, and all of those things really speak to me. My psychic stuff. Now, here's my thing on psychic. I think everybody's psychic. I think we all have the ability to be psychic. I think we all... I keep looking for the camera, y'all, which I think I'm looking away, and... Where am I looking? But... We're all psychic, okay? Every one of us are psychic. You get hunts, you get hints, you get gut punches. Hunts? Hunches. And so I really think that, and we're taught not to pay attention to them. As adults, we tell our kids, "Oh, you didn't see that, or you didn't hear that, or you don't, you know, you can't know that." And we do it, I think, out of a sense of protection. We don't want our kids to, you know, be ungrounded, be half in this world, half in the other world. You know, but I was one of those kids. I lived in between the worlds for a lot of my life. I did a lot of solitary stuff. Now, when I was hanging out with other kids, I mean, I was just like the rest of them. We played Army. We G.I. Joe crawled through ditches to go steal pears off a neighbor's tree. I mean, you know, kid stuff. But my instincts, my hunches, and I would know things. I had deja vu experiences when I was little. Like a second grade is the first time I can remember having one. A little boy ran up to me and asked me if it was my shoe, and had a sneaker in his hand. And I knew it wasn't my shoe, and I knew that the kid he was going to next wasn't the right kid, so I said, "No, it's that one's shoe." And so I changed the premonition by pointing him to the right kid. You know, silly stuff. I mean, not don't get on that plane, it's going to crash kind of stuff, but little stuff. Then when I moved into on my Wiccan path. That's when it first really started happening, because that's when I started reading tarot more. And tarot seems to open me up. And crystals. Crystals work too. This is one of my beauties. I also found one of my others. Where is she? Oh, I don't see her, y'all. Well, here's another one. This is a little piece of angelite, I believe. It's a little tiny piece. And I hear stones. This one, it looks like nothing, right? It's one of my treasured pieces. A friend of mine went to Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs, Manitou Springs actually, in Colorado, and brought me back a rock. His partner was like, really? You're bringing Arwen a rock? And he looked at his husband like he'd lost his mind, and Richard said, no, this is what she needs. And Michael died. Michael passed away. But this is very, very dear to me for a lot of reasons. And one of them is that I hear things from it. Yeah, crystals talk to me. I get information. I hear stuff. I am somewhat clairaudient. I'll hear bells. My Wiccan High Priestess at the time told me they were astral bells and I should pay attention to them. But the psychic thing really blossomed when I started reading tarot. It was, I'll tell you a ghost story. I'll tell you a couple of ghost stories. The first time this ever happened to me, the first time I ever had somebody from the other side show up, I was reading for a woman, laid a card in Deep Past. I was still doing the Celtic Cross at that time. And it was Chariot reversed. And that has a lot of meanings, but for me it was like, oh, this was a car wreck. You lost somebody you love, and he wants you to know that he didn't fall asleep at the wheel, it was his heart. She started to cry. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. She said, no, keep going. And I told her, and then I said, and I described the person I saw, because suddenly I had this memory of having seen this person. Now, there's no way I could have known this person. None. But I described him to her, and then I said, he has a message for you, and it is, don't move the big pots. And I'll never forget my background, mind saying, what the hell, dude? You have come all the way from the other side to talk to your wife, and all you can say is, don't move the big pots? And that was truly the extent of his message. And she started to laugh and cry. And when she got a hold of herself, she said that where she lived, they had a short winter, and she had big, huge, massive terracotta pots. And she was planning to bring them in because they used to bring them in every winter. And he always made her let him do it. And she said, that's how I know it's real. That's how I know you know what you're saying. Y'all, it freaked me out. I am here to tell you, it super traumatized me. I wasn't set up to talk to the dead. I hadn't made that effort. None of it. So it was a little spooky for me. I was reading at that time with the Tarot of the Old Path. I just used it in my video about writing. And I think it was in that video. I don't remember, y'all. But very clear message came across. I had it was a reading for two sisters, and their grandmother came, and I said, her name is like Maybelle. Not Mabel, not Maybelline, but Maybelle. And this is what she's wearing. And they both went, oh, that's her. You just described the dress we buried her in. And she had a message for them. So, and I get messages like that when I read for people. I've done some test mediumship readings to do specific, like read for you, for the person who's passed, and see what comes through. It's an interesting experience. The 3 that I did were all very accurate, according to the people I read for. One of them wasn't quite as accurate. One of them I kept seeing as a woman, but she insisted it had to be a man because of what they were wearing and other information about them. So, but, you know, that's my psychic stuff. My psychic ability, I stay open to it. I do sometimes shut it down. I think it was like a faucet and I screw it down when I'm in certain situations. Ember talked about it when we were doing our little talk when I was at her house, about how I sometimes go, and I have to. I can't go out in public like that. I'll tell you another true story. I had a, not quite a breakdown, but close to, living in Louisiana. And that's when I stopped reading on the psychic lines, because I was driving past people and picking stuff up from them. It just felt like a continuous bombardment. And I had no skills. I didn't know how to close things down. I didn't know this trick yet. I didn't know this trick. And these are things you can do. You can just cross your arms over your heart chakra, over your solar plexus, wherever you feel like you're really getting hit with it. I build filters into my chakras. So that's pretty much how I do my psychic stuff. I don't know if this answers your question or not. Spirituality, my base belief is from the void comes one, from the one comes two, and from the two come many. I do have a matron and I have a patron. I may talk about them at some point. I'll have to see how they feel about it and get information from them. I'm a Wiccan high priestess. I've been Wiccan since 1985. Is when I dedicated. And I was studying before that, but my official dedication into the coven I trained in was in '85. And that was in Toledo, Ohio. And I believe that what we put out comes back. There's the law of threefold. Let me show you the law of threefold here really quickly. I need a piece of paper. So, the law of threefold. People get this wrong a lot. Fold the paper 3 times. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. Now I want you to look here. That's not just 3 pieces, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's odd. How did it? Anyway, but it's more than 3, and I believe that what I send out comes back to me threefold. So if I wish harm on somebody, threefold back. If I wish joy on somebody, threefold back. One of the reasons I'm a joy seeker. I seek joy is not a motto, it's a lifestyle for me. And I hope that others will make it a lifestyle for themselves. You know, when you're mad at somebody and that bitch, blah, blah. You're just bringing it back to yourself. You're just connecting yourself to the energy. You know, I wish them well. I wish them love. I wish them a job in another state. So lots of ways to do that with my spirituality. And karma for me is not instant. It's not add retribution and stir. I wrote an article on that. It's out on Witchvox. I think it's still out there. And that's me in a nutshell, I guess. Pagan, witch, Wiccan, tree worshiper, tree lover, tree talker, rock witch, and psychic, medium. It's kind of weird to say that word out loud and kind of own it, but that's who I am. And if you're looking for a reading, yeah, I read for others. You can go to tarotbyarwen.com, set up an appointment. Right now, my appointments are way out, y'all. I think October 10th, maybe sooner, but they're kind of booked out, and that's simply because I'm traveling right now, which kind of makes me book up because I like to play when I travel. I don't like to work. Thanks for asking the question. I hope this answered. I'll be doing a couple more videos. I'm an ummer today, and we'll see what we talk about. Seek joy, y'all. Pass it on. I'm Arwen of Tarot by Arwen. It did it again.